So, Thalia, I want to try to break down the barriers of this being an interview and just talk with you. I want you to know that you have been an inspiration to me from afar and working with you as well. You're just such a light and inclusive and creative. And you say that design and creativity create community. And I see that in the fabric of how you exist. You're a model. You've also modeled, but you are a role model. I'm curious about your journey from modeling to photography to design houses and then working with Restoration Hardware as the chief creative officer. And you recently retired and started a new journey. And if I may, I believe that you've given away enough secrets to say, I recall when you turned 60 just recently and you celebrated it all over the internet and said, I am 60 and beautiful and proud. And I'm so excited about my future and what I'm bringing, what's coming into my universe. So I want to ask you, like, what is coming into your universe and what does your world look like right now in your 60s and past in your retirement, but still working every day? And what are you working on?
Well, I think 60 is the window opening to a whole new journey of reinvention. It is. I always have felt that you live your decades, and every decade has a purpose. The purpose of now getting into the 60s and the next chapter in my life, this chapter of my life, which I have been working carefully crafting for years. I have planned this for years, right? That was my dream to, it just, I guess, find the freedom. I have been lucky enough to have two beautiful sons, raise them, and doing everything you need to do with those responsibilities, getting certain, platform in where I can have a home and certain security, right? And now is back in a way to be 20 again. But yeah, with the wisdom of 60, which is
Yes.
like, that's the magic of it, right? I think it's the time of wisdom right now for me and enjoying life freely and dedicating my time and to the passion projects. Um, I've been very, very fortunate through the years that I have had a career in which I focused. I got up every morning and I went to work in something that I love and something that it challenged me, something that it made me, learn something new every day. So that has been a tremendous journey. But nevertheless, you are. You have to have let's say, a responsibility on a daily basis. There is certain, time that you are committed to it, which is a lot. We all know most of our hours of the day go to work, and then you have the other little time that you get your personal life. So through the years, I have always carved the time to dedicate to my personal life and build those Thursday night dinners to make sure that I was in contact and connected to the friends and the family, to go to Spain every summer of my life with my children, to visit my large family in Spain. But now it's time of freedom. It is time where, last year, the minute that I hung my hat of the responsibility of every day going to work, I spent 6 months in Spain.
Yeah.
And it was fabulous. It was amazing. It was like, every summer when I go, you just get there. And then, 3 weeks into, that you're starting to dread that you need to return, right, to reality.
Yes.
And this time, I moved the ticket. I don't know how many times, whatever the times. I mean, my friends here were wondering, and my children, are you returning, Mom? Are you coming back? And I said, eventually, I'll come back eventually. So eventually, I left in June and I came back sometime in early November. And I love coming back here and I love the life here. But it was that sense of freedom, that sense that you are not in the clock. And then with that comes the fabulous open field to dedicate my time and my energy to projects of love, in which you are not necessarily looking for the responsibility of having to make money or respond to a whole organization or having a giant team behind you that is depending on you. So it's this sense of freedom to really fly high and go right above and look down and really say, and today and this month I want to focus on this. And you just land and you just take your time, developing that idea and developing that project. And it is been a tremendous, tremendous time. I'm literally a year and a half into it, and I'm so excited for the next. At least into 100. I'm planning to live at least into 100. That's my
I
plan,
have
right?
no doubt. Your spirit and your spunk will give you longevity for many, many years to come.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about today, about tomorrow, about the future. And the reality of it is looking amazingly beautiful. The rest of my life, and life in the end of the day is so precious. And what we've been going through, obviously, is it makes us realize so clearly every morning when you wake up how lucky we are. We're here.
I have seen you as a vivacious woman, fully independent with children, but not with a husband since I've known you. And so I'm curious, do you have a partner, or what is it? What does your world look like in terms of love life, and how do you manage it? And what advice do you have for those who are listening, especially women?
Well, let me tell you a short story. One of it is I love men. Let me start with that.
Okay.
And sometimes people ask me, says, well, what kind of man do you like? You need to define. And I say, I like them all. I grew up with 5 brothers.
Yeah.
That they were fabulous when I grew up. They gave me the wings I have today behind me, physically and literally, right?
Nice.
And philosophically. I have been there. I have been married. I obviously, yes, I have flings here and there. But I am a very, how will I say, independent woman. And that does not mean that I don't have a space for love. I do. But not to be married now. I don't know. I just don't need it right now. Neither I have needed for the last years. Do I love the company of men? Absolutely. Absolutely. So who knows? Who knows? But it's not like it's something that I need to do or I feel like I have to have in my how to say in the plateau of my life.
Yeah.
I think life is very full for me the way it is, and I guess I don't know if that answers your question, but
it does. And the reason I ask, I hope it doesn't, it's not too prying, but I think it's really an interesting time because for women and men, people are staying single longer and they're marrying and then they're divorcing or they're remarrying or they're not. I have a group of women that I am very close with in their 20s up to 40s, and many of them are not married yet. And there's a real conversation that happens very regularly around what does it mean to be married? What does it mean to be in a partner? What does it mean to be independent or a woman or a man as well? I'm just speaking from my experience. It tends to be this group of women that we talk about our sense of identity. And so I was really curious to hear your take on relationships and the needs for, gone are the days of checking the box that you have to be married in order to be validated or strong or independent or feeling comfortable with yourself. And so that's really what I wanted to shine a light on with you because I see you modeling that.
Well, I must say I have never felt that I had to check that box. I don't know if because I grew up in a very independent way with a lot of men around me. Mm-hmm. I always felt the freedom and freedom of the mind and economical freedom, financial freedom. It became very clear very early on in my life that it was really important for me to grow my wings on my own, and that has given me the security and the determination to be fearless in so many ways and to live my life my way. That does not mean that I am not willing to share. I am willing to share. I share plenty with everybody in my life, and I love that. But the reality of it is, one of the most precious things that I hold in my life is my freedom. And therefore, I think, I think it goes by, the society has created certain guidelines, certain boxes, right? And then, but I think it's up to each and every one of us to just look ourselves in the mirror and say, what are those boxes? What do they mean to me? Do they mean something? What is important to me? And for me, the box of being married, it was never that important, Now, I must say, I always wanted to have a family. I always wanted to have a family, and that I will not trade it for the world. If I was to do it all over again, I will have children on my own.
Interesting.
If I do not come across a man that I love, and I do think if I'm going to be in a journey parallel with somebody by my side, it has to be additive for both of us, and it has to work both ways. It's not about me. I remember when I got married, and my husband asked me, he wanted to get married. I could have been really happy having children, not being married.
Okay.
And then when he says, well, he assumed I was going to take his last name. And I'm saying, what? And it was like, for me, no, my God, what will I lose my last name? My since I was born, I've been Tejada, right?
Yeah.
What will I lose? Well, and he just wrong. He says this all my life. All these women wanted to be Mrs. Kimiji, which is his last name. Wonderful man, by the way. But and he says, and now that I'm decided I want to get married, you don't want to have my last name. And I say, no way. It's like it didn't even cross my mind, right?
Oh my gosh.
So but I think there are certain traditions, that we are all part of the journey of life, and traditions are wonderful. Sometimes they wait a lot. I think it's up to each and every one of us to what do you call it? Torearlas. In Spain we say, to just kind of like the bullfighter.
Oh, yes.
With the bull, right? Yes, like challenge them.
Yes.
Challenge the traditions.
Yes.
And I think we should. I have always tried to take what it was important to me, but I always left behind what it was not. There is certain traditions of what the society expects of you, and believe me, where I come from, there is plenty of expectations, traditional expectations.
I bet.
So I have been challenged by that. A lot growing up. Now now people say, God, you did this 30 years ago, you did that 40 years ago. Our eyes will go like, what are you doing? Now everybody's doing it. When I got divorced, nobody was getting divorced in Spain, and I will go back into the summer and everybody will be like, oh my God, she's divorced. Anyway.
So I love what you're sharing, and thank you, and keep sharing everything along the lines that you're doing. It's so interesting and inspirational. And there are women like me who are watching you from afar, and I think it's important for you to know that. And I tell my mom the same thing, and other women that I look up to, my aunts and other women in business, friends. It's so important for the women who are carrying the light in their 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s, that the rest of the women who are in their teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, they're really still coming into their own, and life is changing so fast that it's awesome to see women like you paving the way and breaking through the molds and living really fulfilled, meaningful lives.
With this latest valuable episode, we'd love to thank you for joining us on the Creating Community for Good podcast. If you found today's show valuable, simply visit our website, creatingcommunityforgood.com, to leave a review, as well as to get access to additional resources and relevant links from this show. Stay tuned for more episodes.